So ready to get started with the Susan Nance night. We thoroughly welcome her family. It's a great event and we're glad you were able to join us tonight. I would like to excuse Council Member Severin. He is out of the country. And Council Member Barker just sent me an email saying he'd be a little late. He said a fire incident is leading. Incident, as you know, he's our assistant fire chief and our fire marshal. So he should be joining us shortly. So tonight we're going to start our meeting. Council Member Swanson has indicated that he'll lead us in a pledge of allegiance after Council Member Dalpaz opens our meeting. Council Member Dalpaz.
Our Heavenly Father, we're grateful for this evening. We're grateful for all of the blessings that we enjoy as residents of North Ogden City. We're truly grateful for the snow that has fallen over the past few months, and we ask for your continued assistance with some additional precipitation by the end of this snow year. We're grateful that we can gather and make decisions that impact the lives of all of those in North Ogden, and we hope that we can make these decisions with a solid mind and open heart to those that are making input. We're so grateful for all that we have and say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen.
You'll stand and follow me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Member Dalpaz and Council Member Swanson. We'll now get our meeting started. We're happy tonight to present to our City Recorder, Susan Nance, a Master Municipal Clerk Award. And this has taken a lot of work. We surely don't take the amount of effort she's put in lightly, and we're grateful that she has reached that status. And we're so happy that she is on our team here in North Ogden. She does a fantastic job for us, and we really appreciate that. So with that, now we'll have the presentation to Susan. I believe this is going to be done by the Recorders Association. I don't know who's leading that effort this evening. All right. Tell us your name when you step up here if you're going to lead the effort for us.
Yeah. So good evening, Mayor and Council. I am Jackie Nostrom. I am the City Recorder of Harriman. I'm also the president of the Utah Municipal Clerks Association. I do also have with me Denise Woods. Well, here, why don't I have you guys introduce?
Okay, I'm Denise Woods. I'm the city recorder for Morgan, and I'm the education director for UMCA.
And I'm Alicia Fairborn. I am the city recorder for Hideout, and I am the secretary of UMCA.
Where's Hideout?
Hideout is in between Park City and Camas.
All right, that's the big new development that's taking place, right? All right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
I'm Becky Endicott. I'm the clerk recorder for Huntsville Town. And representing DIMRA. Yeah, the treasurer representing DIMRA. It's our Davis Morgan Weaver Recorders Association.
Is Mayor Sorensen behaving himself up there?
Yes. I talked to him today.
Not to talk to him, that's not acceptable.
I'm Cynthia Benson. I'm the deputy recorder at Harrisville, and I'm also the secretary for DEMRA.
All right, well, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. We are super excited to be here for this prestigious award for Miss Susan. So the UMCA does work in conjunction with IMC, which is the International Institute of Municipal Clerks, to provide education and networking support for municipal clerks, recorders, and their deputies. As you may or may not know, the recorder clerk position is the oldest position of local government. Their duties have expanded over the years, and today with modern technology, it assists them in increasing their responsibilities to stay abreast of computer programming, records management, and any other relevant information Many deputy and municipal clerks and recorders do have to continue education to increase the knowledge of issues, earning new material and making sure they keep their skills sharp. To achieve this designation, Susan did have to go through a previous designation to receive the MMC. It's called the CMC, which is a certified municipal clerk. And there is a lot of work that goes into that. In addition to achieving the CMC, to get the MMC, you have to do 60 educational points, which is equivalent to 240 hours of in-class coursework and 40 experience points. That is not directly associated to the job. It's more of a professional development in those. This process is equivalent to a bachelor's degree, and it takes a lot of time, work, and dedication to achieve the certification. UMCA has 227 members, with approximately 108 members having a CMC designation, and Susan is now our 40th MMC in the state of Utah. So you can see that Susan is an elite group of clerks and recorders. Susan couldn't have achieved any of this without the support of the city council and city leadership. And I thank you on behalf of UMCA, IAMC, for your continued support in those efforts. We would like to present Susan with her certification plaque and just a gift from UMCA, and congratulate her again for her achievements. Thank you.
Yes, you're looking right here.
Yeah.
We'll send it to you. We'll send it to you. Katie, you got it right there.
Okay, it's okay if it's fine. You looking at me first?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, ready? Look at me. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Thank you, Kevin.
It is. Need it. That's better. All right, thank you. Thank you for attending this evening with us, city council meeting. You will certainly stay with us. Council, you've had a chance to look at the agenda. Are there any conflicts of interest? Perceived conflicts of interest that need to be disclosed this evening? You see none, we'll move on then to item number 3 and 4. This would be a discussion to consider approving the city council meeting minutes of December 13th of 2022. Anyone have any comments before I see the motion? I'm good. Everybody good? All right, so council, do we have a motion to approve those minutes? So moved by council member Swanson.
Second.
By council member Extra. Any further discussion? All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Move on to item number 4, which is an action to consider the January 3rd, 2023 city council meeting minutes. Any comments on those minutes before I seek a motion? See none, so we have a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Dowpaz. A second.
Okay.
Councilmember Barker. Any further discussion? All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. We'll move into our active agenda now. We'll seek public comments for those who would like to make a comment this evening. John, if you would watch online, let us know if there's someone who's joined us electronically that would like to comment. For those who would like to comment, I invite you to step up to the podium. State your name and please limit your comments to no longer than 5 minutes.
My name is Doug Christensen. I live on 2600 North, 2714. I have talked with Councilman Delpaz on this issue some months ago, prior to him moving from our neighborhood. 2 years ago, we made mention, I didn't, but it was brought up about our deer population in North Ogden City. I have been trying for the last week to get a hold of Natural Resources and ask them some suggestions that I might throw out to you guys. And it is like trying to get into Fort Knox. It's just not one, call this person, send them an email, send him a text, he'll get back with you. And so I have not got anything from them to tell you what might be a plan of attack. But what's happened is I've lived up here now for 29 years at this same location. And my first 10 years, our deer population stayed pretty much on the hillside, which we've pretty well destroyed. The winter deer ground, so to speak. We've created our own problem by having the deer move down into our housing area and into our business area down here on 2600 and even right outside your door. The deer are here. 3 years ago, we had 4 deer and in our neighborhood. Now we've got 10. 3 of them are fawns. One of the fawns jumped the fence, broke its leg out behind my house. I pulled it out of the fence and it's still wandering around. Destroys our gardens. It eats for survival. I mean, right now they're chomping down anything that's green and above the snow. And I don't blame them a bit for doing that. I've got a ranch up in Cache Valley. We've got several head of deer down on my farm, and I don't care a bit because it's not an issue of safety. It's not an issue of losing. We lose a few crops up there, but not like here. They destroyed my corn crop last year out in the garden. They really like tomatoes. They're eating all of our green bushes now that are up, and they're gonna struggle to come back this spring, and that doesn't make my wife happy. So I'm asking you, as a citizen, patron of this wonderful town, we need to do something about it. Up in Providence, some years ago, they had the same issue with some elk. And the elk came down off of a heavy snowstorm and went through a car window, through the front window of a car, and put the people in the hospital. Citizens got really upset about the deer and the elk population, and they had some archers come in and took out the 7 head of elk that was there. They processed the elk and gave the elk to a homeless. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but they distributed it out to people that could use the meat. And I know a lot of it went to and I should have had the name of it. It was like our shelter down in Ogden, down on Wall Avenue. But doing so caused some issues. There were a bunch of people that says, how can you shoot those beautiful animals? You're just down here trying to survive, which is true. I love to see the deer prance 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 right through my yard, cross the neighborhood, cross the fence, cross the fence, cross the fence, and then back through the evening. I had one fellow, I won't give his name, but he's my neighbor. He was riding his bike down the street 2 weeks ago when the weather was decent. Deer went across the road. He almost hit it on his bike. Bike's no noise. Bike's not go light. He doesn't see it. He's concentrating, and the deer went right in front of him. Would have took him out, and he probably would have been hospitalized, if not hurt worse than that. So what I'm asking is some ideas, some conversation between our group as to next year there's got to be 20. They haven't got it. Those young fawns don't know about the mountains. They've been raised down here on corn and cucumbers and raspberries. That's where they live. That's what they know. They don't know about the hills. They've never been there, and they won't go there. I've heard that relocating them causes them to die because they're not used to the sagebrush and the wild grasses and the different altitudes and things that they're going to be living with. Suggestion would be that we hire some archers to come in and make some preparations to have the deer meat used for homeless
I
shelters.
hate to interrupt you, but I get criticized if I let people go longer than 5.
Thank you.
So thank you. Let me just respond. I had a conversation with the regional director of Division of Natural Resources, Wildlife. I can't remember what it is. It's quite a process. You can't just hire people to come in. You have to go through quite a process. And you're right. He said Bountiful a number of years ago did that. And he said the uproar was very significant because people wanted the deer gone until they saw them dead on the street or in their yards from being. But we do have a problem. I'll follow up with my contact there and see if there's some way to do it, but it's pretty intense to do that. So thank you for your comments and understand your concerns. My bushes are pretty
Will
eaten too, so.
we have any, how do we find out what the progress on this is going to be?
We have to contact the Wildlife Resources, see what the process is, but we had a discussion on this, I believe, a number of years ago, John. On it because it's been a consistent problem and it's
growing.
yeah, it's not going to get any less for sure. And this winter is pretty tough. I mean, we've seen on TV the elk coming down there in Salt Lake. So Councilmember Delphas.
I know this is out of order, but I just want to say I emailed John a while ago. Everyone saw the concerns about the population, and one thing that he pointed out, I believe, is that the relocation program that they had several years ago is no longer functioning. So I think it makes it even harder for us to have an option. So Doug, as far as following up on what happens, just call me and let's stay connected because we'll at least make sure that the discussion is moving forward.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments this evening? John, anyone online?
No raised hands.
Okay, we'll move on in our agenda then. We're now going to hear from Jamie Jones, our finance director. He's going to outline for us the proposed budget amendments for the fiscal year 2022-23 budget. Council, I hope you had a chance to look at this in your packets, so Jamie, maybe if you give us an overview and see if the council has any questions.
Council. So we have before us some amendments for the fiscal year 22-23 budget. Last year, when we adopted it, council had committed to reviewing mid-year market salary adjustments. And also reviewing the sales tax revenue. About adding a 23rd officer once that sales tax revenue reached $100,000 over projected budget. We are there. Our sales tax revenue as of November is $186,000. Over projected budget. So regarding general fund revenue, the breakdown that I'm about to give does not include budgeting for the 23rd officer, nor does it include an increase to sales tax revenue. So we are looking at making budget amendments for the general fund revenue in the amount of $440,000, and most of that is coming from interest income of $432,000. That is a projected number. Highway safety grant, a little bit of increase there, and then also with our state liquor allotment, those funds came in a little more there, and the department would like to increase those budgets because they want to increase the expense side for allowing for those shifts, which is what the highway safety grant is for. So for the general fund expenditures, this is a net of 26,000 increase. So meaning we're increasing expenses 26,000. However, there's a lot that's in and out to make up that 26,000. When we adopted the budget, there was a line item in there for the 100,000 for personnel related costs. And so this makes that adjustment to come out, which is, I don't know if I'm saying that right. So we're taking out that expense of 100,000 and reallocating it for the mid-year salary adjustments. The mid-year salary adjustments did come in about 140,000, which I know we projected it to be 100,000. But in the early years, we've had some turnover and whatnot with different departments. And so that those increased costs are included in that 140,000. We've had some turnover in the beginning of the year and had to massage some things. So we're also increasing the legislative admin offset fee. That was a correction from the prior year. We left in the 8,000 there to cover elections, which we're not having this year. This budget year, that will be into next year. And then non-departmental liability insurance coverage was an extra 14,000. And then we are looking into a survey software of $12,000. So the net revenue over expenses is we're increasing the general fund balance, meaning we're increasing revenues of 414,256. This does make our general fund balance about 26,000, or excuse me, 26%, or 2.7 million, if all goes well. Question there? That's kind of a lot.
Questions, council? Councilmember Exton, looks like you have a question.
Thank you. I'm trying to remember what we set the general fund balance to be. There was a certain percentage that we were.
So the goal was, sorry.
Remember what it?
Well, it's not less than 15%.
Not less than 15. Okay, thank you.
Not
That
less
was my
than
question.
15. We did end the year last year at 23%.
Okay.
Councilmember Dalpens.
I just want to make sure I understand it right. It sounds like part of the interest income that's projected is from what we did with that Wells Fargo account that we approved several months ago. Is that accurate?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
With the investment that.
And so that's got to be huge because we haven't had that before. We haven't had that type of interest income.
Right. Not for
That's
a long
awesome.
time.
Yeah, I think when we approved the budget, rates were near zero.
Yeah, it's gone up.
But, Bryce has done a good job of making sure we're maximizing our return. Once again, I should point out that the money we borrowed for the public safety building probably had an average rate maybe of 2.30. And we're now earning over 4% on that, so it's actually more than paying for itself. That balance will continue to go down as we pay for the public safety building, but yeah, it's kind of a nice windfall, but something we obviously can't count on is continuing revenue, so.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So also included, we are decreasing the RDA transfer to the aquatic center at 15,824, just to reflect staff turnover there. And then increasing the use of fund balance for capital projects. 124,000, and this is to include the additional cost for Wadman Park. The original budget was 100,000, and those costs have gone up to replace that equipment, approximately 40,000. And we're also looking to increase funds for the Mountain Road Trailhead project. We want to increase that 102,000 to cover the project costs there. And then we are modifying the 450 East because we finally have closed out that project, and so we're reducing that expenditure from 318 to 3,000. So
Any questions?
There,
You want to continue with the enterprise funds?
if you're ready.
Are you ready?
We're ready.
Cool.
All right,
All right.
so
What do you want?
solid waste, about the end of January. Yep, perfect. So about the end of January, we got word that the transfer station is increasing their tipping fees again. By $5 per ton, but I heard that now it's $6. That is
I
correct.
sent the information to John. Just as a reminder, this is a pass through from the county.
Yeah.
So this has nothing to do with our operation as such that we can control. This is a pass through from the county, from Republican transfer station. So yeah.
So just to give some background, when we first did the original budget, we were guessing at a 5% increase per ton. And so last year, the city raised the base fee by $1. That increase was actually 9%. So they raised it from $40, it's like $40.50 to $44.14. So that was a surprise, but now they're increasing it another 11%. So now we're going from $44 to $50 per ton. So quite a bit. I know that when I first sent this out, it was a rough, estimate on what this was going to cost. And I think that the original sheet that I sent out said $1.71. But I've since gone back and refined it, and then you can see up there on the screen. With that dollar increase, our total projected revenues is going to be about 1.3 million, which leaves the new deficit for including the new tipping fees. It's really going to cost us maybe an additional $15,000 from what we originally budgeted for this $6 increase. The original budget includes a $30,000 deficit. If you guys, I don't know if you remember that. So we agreed that we were going to use fund balance. So this will further that. Dipping into fund balance unless we increase the fee 53 cents per can.
Per month.
Per month. And this is just to get us through March through June, and then we can reevaluate the next budget year. So that would make it for right now it's 1339 to 1392.
Yeah, that was good news, yeah.
Well, and then the other thing I will say, really quick, there was a request at the audit committee meeting to talk about the power for pumping charges for the water
in those special zones. We have the formula, we just don't have a number yet, and so hopefully we'll bring that on the 28th. Further.
So just to expand on that, for those of you who are here or listening in. Normally, we get a good portion of our water out of the streams, Rice Creek, etc. This last year, they were quite low, almost inverse. Would we get about 10% of our water out of there and pump the rest?
Yeah.
Used to be almost the opposite. So the electricity to bring that water up from the wells, pump it throughout the city, has grown substantially along with increased cost for electricity. So I guess we ought to go home and watch the State of the Union, because I hear inflation's going down. And maybe find out what that formula is, because it doesn't seem to be going down anywhere where I live. So we'll wait then on the water, but there's a potential adjustment in the water fee from costs outside of our control. But we're hoping, and I think we made this commitment this year. Looks like we might have some water coming out that will make the adjustment if we don't have to pump as much. So. Councilman Swanson?
Jamie, on the screen there under solid waste. There's a considered rate increase of $1.71.
Yeah.
You're saying where you're not suggesting the $1.71, you're suggesting the 53 cents.
And what's that based on? Just
So-
eating up more of the fund balance?
Well, a little bit eating up more of the fund balance of maybe 15,000, but I went back and last year our average tonnage was about 770 per month, and this year we're running about 750. So we're down in our tonnage. So I think that our cost last year may not be as much this year. Where that first number did include, I was looking at that because I didn't have all the information yet. And then also when I was looking at the revenues, we're generating more revenue than what was originally budgeted. And so I took that into account as well.
So the question would be, do we want to eat up 15,000 more of the fund balance? We're eating up 50, now it's 65.
It was, yeah,
Okay. What else do you have for us?
that's it.
That's it. Okay, Councilmember Swanson, you have another
We
question?
chose not to eat up the general fund balance because it's not that large in our solid waste. And cover it all with an increase, then what would the increase be? About double it, dollar something a can?
For the 15,000 extra?
No, that would be the 53 cents for this year.
If we don't use fund balance.
If we don't.
The $1.71 that we actually.
Okay, gotcha.
Mhm.
So it's not the 53 cents plus some fund balance. Okay.
Well, actually,
I'm
we're-
looking in my crystal ball, so.
let me clarify this in my mind. Right now, in essence, we're subsidizing what the fee should be because we're eating up some of the fund balance that's been accumulated over the years. We budgeted that originally for 50,000, 30, and now it's what, 60?
Now it would be 45 to 50.
So the question is, I think to Councilmember Swanson, if we want to maintain just eating up 30,000 of the fund balance, what does the increase go to for the extra 20,000?
I don't have that number, but I don't have my phone either.
Well, let's just estimate that. How much are costs going up in total?
80,000.
So it'd be 20,000 of the 80,000 be another 25% increase on the 53 cents approximately, right? So it'd be about 65, 70 cents. Just approximately, if you're thinking about what you want to do. Okay. Any other questions? Councilmember Dalpaz.
What was the percentage that we wanted to keep the garbage fund, the solid waste fund at?
Do you remember what that number was, John?
So this was and this one, because we did talk about this today, I believe this one was either half of operating costs. because of the contracts for the pickup service. And so, but. Sorry, that was what we originally talked about, and I think we settled on a third of the, because when we really talked about it, we don't have a capital expenditure we need to replace, right? Because, and so we were talking about how many cans do we need to replace in the worst windstorm we could experience. And that number was about half the cans, or sorry, about a third of the cans, which is at this point, what, $130 a piece, 2,000 cans, 260 grand to buy 12 or 4,000 new cans. No, sorry.
Of course, the probability of that happening is fairly remote.
Yeah.
But here's, I think, something we need to consider in the discussion is, one, if price increases keep going like this, it's gonna be hard for us to keep up, and we'll eat up some of the fund balance just naturally. As costs continue to rise. You know, the other problem that I have as I think about this is citizens who paid into that fund over the years are now giving a benefit to people who are moving into the city because they didn't create the fund balance. But I don't think there's a resolution to that, but that's a fact. Is the citizens who have lived here for a period of time have accumulated that balance. And so at some point in time, I recall the discussion, we don't want to eat up too much of that. Because at some point in time, when that balance is eaten up, we don't want to have a sharp increase all at one time too. So just a reminder there. Any other questions, Jamie? All right, well, I think we posted that there'd be a public hearing in this discussion, and it was properly posted. So at this point in time, I would open the public hearing. If anybody would like to comment, now would be the time. And John, if there's anyone online.
Go ahead.
What's your name?
Kevin Burns. I'm here from North Ogden. I didn't plan on speaking. I was going to kind of wait to the end. But as we talk about solid waste and those cost increases, and I don't know what the tonnage, how it changes or what, but I know like in the summertime, I contribute heavily to the tonnage with green waste. And maybe there's an opportunity to have a discussion about something differently we can do with green waste, whether it be a program or more hours at the green waste that may help us cut some of those costs. I really feel like the fewer dollars that we can send down to Weber County, the happier I will be. So if there's anything room for that. So thank you.
Okay.
Brenda Ashton, I live in North Ogden. I've been here long enough, you think I would know this, but I have a question. Would it be okay to ask a question?
Public hearing.
So we're talking about raising the trash collection from March until June. So when we do the new budget, we're going to have to raise it again, right?
Not necessarily. I think we've covered the increase. The only discussion would be is if the council wants to continue to eat up fund balance in that enterprise fund. But I think this raises it to cover all the costs we know about now, doesn't it, Jane? Yeah.
But you said something about from now, March until June,
So that was the 53 cents,
right?
To cover that increased cost. Because that's what we know right now. We don't know if they're gonna increase it again July 1. Or how we're gonna end up with the city tonnage.
I have mixed feelings on this because I don't want to be nickel and dime every 2 months, 50 cents. And then say July, we have to do another 50 cents. I also don't want to pay an extra $200 a month, so I don't envy your choice, but to me, that's something to think about is do we want to just do the 53 cents now, and 3 months from now, we're gonna have to do it again. And I know that's hard to tell because we have no idea if or how much it's gonna go up.
The county's committed to not increasing fees again in July, but John, when does our Republic contract come up? I think they'll probably get another 3 or 4% from us.
Yeah,
What is that?
that'll be on July 1st is when it would go into effect.
Well, if the council so desires and doesn't want to increase it again in July, probably got to take that into effect. Because we know that they're gonna get the maximum increase that's contractually committed.
Thank you.
Councilmember Swanson, thank you, Brenda.
Brenda, one of the things that the county brought out in the WACOG meeting yesterday, wasn't it WACOG, we talked about it, that this is kind of unusual for the county to have an increase in the middle of the year like this. Usually they time it to go with the beginning of the fiscal year, but because of some things that out of their control, that they're all. Kevin saw the eye roll.
I know what the out of control was,
Yes.
out of their control.
The increased costs they've actually been absorbing since January and hadn't passed on to us. And the new date to pass on to us, from what I remember from the meeting yesterday, is April 1st, not March 1st. And so in their words, it's an unusual situation. We wouldn't need to increase it in July unless Republic Services cost goes up for their new contract, or we get another surprise increase from the county. So the hope would be that this 53 cents would cover it for between now and July, till we know what the Republic Services is going to cost us.
And I think we can, what's our ceiling on that, John? 4%?
Yes,
Yeah, I think we can count on them hitting us for the 4%. This is the second or third year of our contract. Third and final year, or was it 5 years? So I think we can assume they're gonna take the 4%. Because Republic is the one of the major contributors to the county. The county public doesn't have a ceiling on their contract with the hauler. So, council, that would be an item for you just to, what is the portion the Republic charges us? How much per can?
Well, it depends on what candidate, it's like $4.74.
So you can figure another 20 cents basically. So if you want to cover that and make it all at once, you're increasing it. 52 plus 20 plus. I just don't think we ought to be into the fund balance another 15,000. Okay, Chris, did you have a comment?
Yeah, Chris Pulver, North Ogden, just to basically iterate, he was saying the green waste part, I think that's a spectacular idea because I don't know about you, grass clippings are really heavy. Anyway, and then the other thing, I always have a person texting me in my pocket, is wife mentioned the recycle thing. I know that's been debated off and on and basically got canceled because of certain entities not wanting it anymore, I guess. But is that something that's even an option anymore to recycle, or, you know, people or companies even wanting to do it?
Well, it's always an option, but if you've read the newspaper, the group that used to do ours was the contract was canceled by Ogden City for violation of EPA standards. We still haven't got clarification if the recycling industry is really there. In regards to the green waste, I know that the transfer station is segregating that out. What that would take is approximately 6,900 green cans that we'd have to buy. That 100 probably the same price as the blue and that $130 per pop. But there might be another solution, over here at the pit and then hauling it off from there to the transfer station or something. Dave, are you waiting or do you have a comment?
I'm hearing silence. He needs to go.
Anyways,
If you haven't heard, always say
It's burning down.
I'll let you know later. You don't have your app on your phone? I do.
Yeah, that was it. That was, yeah.
All right.
Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, any other comments in public hearing? John, anyone online?
Okay.
Dave, did you have a comment? Are you just?
No, I'm still.
Oh, well, it's all of our buildings. Okay, well, anybody else want to leave? All right, we'll continue on then. I'm looking council for a motion to close the public hearing. So moved. So moved by Councilmember Swanson. You have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Ekstrom. Any discussion? All those in favor of closing the public hearing, please say aye.
I.
All right, motion passes unanimously. So council now, we need to take action, and have a discussion on the proposed budget amendments that were presented by Jamie. Any thoughts, any discussion before we seek a motion? Councilmember Ekstrom.
I think I agree with not reducing the fund balance anymore. I think I would like to keep a hold of more of that, especially if we consider in the green waste camp, then we actually have something there. I don't know that we need to have a ton, but something makes me just say, let's do the increase, and then with a projected, I would do the amount that we know is coming from the transfer fee and the amount that we project that's gonna go up, so that it's not two increases. So that we just get it done and people can get used to the new amount. So that we're not increasing it once for this year and for next year when we know it's gonna go up from Republic. At least we can, isn't that in our contract? It's gonna go up 4%. So I would include both.
So by my calculation, and double check me here, Jamie, we have a 52-cent proposed increase, plus 14 cents, plus 20 cents. The 20 cents would cover the potential 4% increase. So I come up with what, 86 cents increase?
53, 20, and 52.
Is it 53 or 50, 53?
53.
So the 87 cents,
73 and 14.
and the 90 cents. Okay. So you're proposing to, when we approve the seek a motion, this make the motion to increase that by 90 cents to 53. Councilmember Dalpez.
I'm a little worried about drawing from the general fund balance as well. I hate the idea of anyone having to pay more, but I feel like that might be the right move.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Any other questions before we approve the motion made by, the recommendation made by Jamie? Anything else? Any other adjustments? Okay, we'll do it. This is going to be, I don't have a number here. John, what do we need here?
Let's see, it
Because I
should,
need this is obviously a roll call vote.
yeah, let's see. So usually the budget amendments are by ordinance.
Yeah, I do
I
not
can give
have
you an
the
ordinance number here.
Oh, shoot, it's not.
It's not an ordinance?
No, she told me that it's a.
I didn't grab it.
Jamie, what do you need?
So are we okay with adding the fund balance to the general fund?
I thought it stayed in solid waste, but it would never.
Well,
This is the other increase in the expensive. I would recommend at this point in time that it remain in the general fund because it can always be transferred over based upon the capital projects fund. As we get the listing of the needs for the next 5 years, we can make that assessment. We're still within the 35% threshold. So is that all right, council? That's what you had in the
Yes, that's what happened. Yes, it's going straight to general fund.
Okay, have we concluded down there what we need, John?
Do 2023-03.
20, what?
2023-03.
Dash 03?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mayor, I'll move that we approve the proposed budget amendments as discussed for ordinance 2023-03 with an increase in the solid waste rate of 90 cents.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Should we just clarify per can per month in the ordinance? Just so it's clear. I mean, I'm,
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
Per can per month? That's 90 cents in the base rate, correct?
yes, to the base rate for the black can.
Right.
What about the blue can?
Great question.
That's something that we've talked about, and we need to come back, I think, with the budget change in June and really delve into the black can, blue can question.
Yeah, I'm just saying, we're gonna get that same increase April, May, and June on blue cans as we're gonna get on black cans from.
Well,
from
yeah, 'cause
Holly
it's,
and typically.
it's the tonnage that shows up, yeah. Yeah,
they have the same capacity.
If we don't increase the number of times that the blue cans, I mean, this is just total tonnage divided out. I think it's more per household, isn't it?
Is this total tonnage,
So.
black and blue?
It would be the, yeah.
Just the base rate,
The
so
base
it
rate.
includes the blue can too, so it's like you're paying for both cans. You know, the black can every week, the blue can every other week, that's.
Right,
Is
she's
that-
right, it's based on tonnage, not, yeah, but it's the base rate.
So 90 cents in the base rate, okay?
I didn't want to mess things up. I
No,
just
that's
thought,
a good point.
just to
Well,
be
you-
sure.
It's a good point. So we have a motion and a second, I believe. So, Councilmember Dalpat, did you have a
seconded that motion?
Councilmember Extra? Councilmember Dalpat, your vote?
Yes.
Councilmember Extra?
Yes.
Councilmember Swanson?
Yes.
Motion passes to amend the 2022-2023 fiscal year budget. All right. This point in time, we need to recess the city council meeting and convene the RDA meeting. There are some adjustments there too, so I'd be looking for a motion to adjourn this meeting and convene the RDA meeting.
Mayor, I move that we adjourn the city council meeting and reconvene in an RDA meeting.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second by Councilmember Swanson. All in favor of adjourning the meeting and entering into the RDA meeting, please say aye.
I.
Any opposed? All right, we are now in the RDA meeting, and the members you saw on Jamie's information on the screen that we also need to amend that budget. You just want to review that real quickly again, what the RDA portion is, Jamie?
Sure, just real quick, and John, help me. A while back, I believe last February, and also in July, the committee talked about providing $275,000 worth of earthwork over at the property across the street here for the over there by the Nielsen's Frozen Custard. And the consideration tonight is to use the RDA funds to cover that cost. And then also in the general, or excuse me, in the budget amendment, we amended the aquatic center, the 15,824 for the staff turnover. So we're just reducing that as well to make that match.
Okay, just as a refresher, as you'll remember, we sold this piece of property here, and we sold that for a gross amount of, what was it, John?
the total sale for the first parcel or the whole cost,
The first parcel,
640,000.
and as part of that, we agreed to pay for the hauling out of dirt that was not structural and the hauling in of dirt.
Yeah, and that was included in the appraised price, council, if you remember, that's how they got to $21 a square foot. Was the assumption was it was commercially
Ready.
flat.
So we approved that sales contract, which included this. The question is it is eligible for RDA funds? It either can come out of RDA funds or it can come out of the general fund. Taking out the RDA fund obviously reduces the amount we have to spend on other projects, or it can come out of the capital projects fund, which reduces the amount of money available for other projects in the city. So, any other information you'd like to share before we open a public hearing? Council, do you have any questions for Jamie on those two issues? All right, then, I think we properly posted in advance for the public hearing. And at this point in time, I would open the public hearing for the RDA budget amendments for fiscal year 2022 and 2023. Anyone who would like to speak, now would be the time, or if there's anyone online? John?
I don't see any raised hands.
Anyone here like to speak to those proposed amendments? Council, what's your preference on this $275,000?
Close the public hearing.
You want to move to close the public hearing? Okay. Have a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Second to Councilmember Dalpaz. All in favor of closing the public hearing, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. All right, council. Back to my question on the $275,000. I think that's the big issue here.
Mayor, I think this is exactly what the RDA is designed to do.
Okay.
Spur future business and tax growth. So I would say we take it out of the RDA.
Okay.
I agree with Councilman Swanson. It's general fund capital projects. We have a lot more flexibility, and this seems like the ideal use of this money and what it was intended for, just right off the bat. So I agree. That's
And I don't disagree with that. I
I
would
just,
just say we have here by the end of the year, we have to determine the spending of about 2.4 million. We don't know exactly what that would take if we do North Ogden Plaza. We know that we're gonna have to do some maintenance and major upkeep down here at the pool. So just as long as we understand, there'll be $275,000 less to do those projects. So we know we're out there facing us.
have we had any estimates on some of the other projects that are RDA qualified that would make us a little bit nervous to let this money go?
We haven't yet. We've asked Justin to give us kind of a list of money that will be needed down at the Aquatic Center. I think we're getting a study done now, Scott, with our grant from WFRC on what it would take down there, but we don't have that information. Those are the unknowns.
Okay.
I'm fine either way. Just want to make sure you have all the information and the ramifications of results there.
If we take that out then, and we end up needing more money for these other projects, would it be in the council's interest to then consider using some of general fund balance if we need it?
You always have that
Always have
option
that, okay,
to use capital projects money or transfer from the general fund into capital projects. As we identify, that's one of the things we're kind of at a little bit of disadvantage because we don't have the 5-year plan that I know James is working on.
okay.
So, we do have, we have some commitments, for parks and things like that, but at this point in time, then I would just, knowing what the information is, I would look for a motion.
Katie, do you have anything?
I think that it's a reasonable use of the funds, and without having even an estimate on what it would cost for what those RDA, what the 2 point whatever million dollars is left in the RDA fund. I just think it's kind of hard to make a really factual based decision based off of that. So since in my mind, this does qualify for a good use as RDA funds, I think it should be fine.
Okay, I'll look for a motion to approve the proposed RDA budget amendments. Fiscal year 2022.
Is there an ordinance?
Yeah, it's RDA 2023-04.
Mayor, I move that we approve RDA, ordinance RDA 2023-04, approving the amendments to the RDA budget as outlined.
Member Ekstrom, we have a second.
Second,
Member Dalpaz. Any further discussion? Do a roll call vote on this. Councilmember Swanson,
Yes.
Councilmember Dalpaz,
yes,
Councilmember Ekstrom.
Yes.
All right. Motion passes unanimously. I'd be now looking for a motion to adjourn the RDA meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by by member Ekstrom and second by member Swanson. Is there any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. The RDA meeting is adjourned. All right, we'll move on to item number 9 on our agenda now. That would be further public comments.
number 8.
Where is that's public comments. Any further public comments? John, any online?
I do have a raised hand from Susan Kilborn.
All right, let's hear from Susan.
Hi, everybody. I just wanted to throw some kudos out to our wonderful people who are doing all the snow removal that just seems to be on and on and on and on. I think I must know them now by name because I rush out there and try and give them, in my nightgown, rush out there to give them some hot chocolate or say thank you, thank you. Some of you who know me know that we live up on the hill, also compounded by the fact that we live on a small cul-de-sac with only about 5 houses. So there's not a lot of room for them to negotiate and not a lot of room for them to put the snow. But I tell you what, those people are awesome. I love them to pieces. And I'm just hoping somebody can do something special for them. Even if it's me, just let me know what I need to do. And that's all I have.
Very kind, and I would support those comments. Our snowplow drivers have had an extraordinary experience this year. It's not really an easy job, believe me. So obviously we can look at comments and take those into consideration, but Brandon, go ahead.
Me again, sorry, Brenda Ashdown, North Ogden. On the back page, number 10, you're going into a closed meeting. And then number 11, is number 11 part of the closed meeting, or is number 11 something that we can listen? So is there any way you could switch those two so that we could stay?
No, because we have to have that discussion. You're welcome to stay and come back, but part of the closed meeting is to discuss the appointment of the planning commissioner along with several other issues that have to take place in the closed meeting.
Before you can do the commission. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else, John, online?
Nope.
Anyone here? All right, we'll move on to item number 9 on our agenda. Any comments, John, from staff?
It ties to what Susan mentioned in her public comments, that we do obviously have people who are frustrated with snow plowing. So anything the council can do to get a feel for what you feel like. I know several of you have ridden in the trucks, seen it, done it. I ended up riding up in the cove 2 weeks ago, week and a half ago. It is an interesting process. We have had several people who are very upset who have suggested that they would ride in the trucks and give suggestions to our drivers. And I've kind of encouraged that not to happen because I don't want to subject a driver to that. Although I do subject them to my company, so, you know. But just be aware of it, and it is something that we're always trying to improve. We are super grateful for everything they do, but we do have folks, in fact, we have residents. When I was driving, we had a resident standing out in their driveway with their snow blower, not in the road, although technically they were, but far enough out in the road that we had to scoot around them and not plow the road in the way that we wanted to. And I hear that that has happened recently with this last storm yesterday as well. So anyways, there's things we're working on. There's a few things that will give you sorry, now I'm shifting gears, just so you don't get like whiplash. There's an activity in March that is a team building activity that we'll get to the dates on for, so you can participate if you'd like to. I do know that the employees enjoy when council can attend and participate. And if you want to do ride-alongs, we will get you set up with the police, with sewer guys, with whatever group you want to do. If you want, we can make engine noises. You can watch Katie work. Like, come work with us and see what we do. So we encourage you to do that.
John, I'm concerned with some of the council members riding with the police. I'm afraid they might take them right out to 12th Street. And drop them off. So if we could just maybe do some vetting. If we let in the car. I'm looking down the road here. John, in regards to that, two things. I've had a discussion with John. We've got a significant problem along 2600. As you know, the street's not very wide and there's no parking strip. So what's happened is we plow the streets. It ends up on the sidewalk. It gets packed down, and if you look there, there's about 2 city blocks where there's no cleared sidewalk. So then you get people walking down 2600. We do have citizens that use the bus, etc. They're walking then along the street, which also has snow. So we've got a pretty dangerous situation there. And additionally, we have mailboxes posted right in the middle of the sidewalk. So John and Dave and myself had some discussions about trying to figure a way to fix that problem. It might entail having, what do you call those, John, gang mailboxes?
Yeah, it's a group, basically a group mailbox or yeah.
But, you know, we've got a very dangerous situation there because those sidewalks aren't getting cleared because obviously that's pretty heavy stuff. And I think there's some aged people along there. So we're trying to look at that. Also, I guess no good deed goes unpunished. I've seen numerous comments about lack of enforcement on people parking on the streets in accordance with I know our officers have tried to be very kind and issue some warnings there, but I think that we have, what would you call them, frequent flyers, chief, who pretty consistently park in the street and don't comply. So in our kindness of trying to be good to our citizens, we're getting complaints about lack of enforcement of parking on the streets.
I'll just kind of address that if that's okay. We have what we call progressive enforcement. So it starts with a warning, but that's all they get. And then it progresses to the next step. So, and we actually log it. Keep the data available to all the officers. So if they run into the same car for a second time, then the enforcement progressively gets to the point where it could be ticketed and impounded.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. No good deed goes unpunished, right? Because technically you could ticket them right off the bat. But in the spirit of trying to be cooperative, we use this progressive enforcement and we get citizens complaining. So just so the citizens know, it is a progressive enforcement. We are trying to be respectful of situations, but it does make it awfully hard to plow when they're out on the street. So I think there's actually, is the ordinance chief, no overnight parking, but no parking on the street during a snowstorm?
During a snowstorm or 24 hours after the cessation of a snowstorm or between midnight and 6 a.m. every night.
Yeah, so it doesn't even have to be overnight. I mean, if there's a snowstorm and they're parking on the street, that's just so the public knows. That's the. Katie, do you have anything?
No.
Dave? Jamie, you have any more good news this evening? Chief, anything else? Scott? Council? Anything, staff, or we need to be aware of? Councilmember Exton?
Yes, I did have a resident reach out to me saying that her neighbors got the impression from the Republic Service article in the North Ogden Connection magazine that because they advised to break down the cardboard that we were starting up recycling again, and she asked me to put something back in the North Ogden Connection magazine stating that we were not going back to recycling and why again. So,
Well, you might have that chance because, we are, I think it's good for our citizens to know all the council members, so in place of the mayor's message for the next little while, off and on, we'll have council members writing the message. Starting with council member Swanson this month.
That'll end the program.
Program rapidly. Anything else?
that's all I had.
Council member Swanson, did you have something?
Yeah, I've had several residents reach out to me about the cars parked. Gee. These residents they know what the rule is, call them, get them out of the way of the plow trucks.
Trust me, you would need a call center if you started doing that. No phone calls.
Well. And the other is, I was hoping that Mr. Christensen would hang around. When we looked at that deer issue several years ago, right, first of all, we can't relocate them anymore. That program is done and over with, and it was very expensive. The other piece, it's not a matter of just simply saying, well, I've got 10 deer and we're going to go and start killing. Division of Wildlife Services has to come in and do a survey, 2 surveys. They've got to come in during the winter time and try to get an accurate count of the number of deer that we have here in the city. And then in the middle of summer, when the non-resident deer will have migrated back up like they're supposed to, we have to do a second count. And then subtract the 2 to get an idea of what our actual resident deer population is. Then we have to decide when there's going to be an archery hunt, and there's only certain people who are certified to do an urban animal hunt, and they aren't cheap. And they have to come in and we have to identify the deer that they can kill. It's an expensive and laborious process. And it takes a good year and a half from start to finish to get to the point where you're actually removing the animals. So anyway, just a report back from where we were a few years ago and what it would actually entail to actually even get to the point where we would consider hiring these archers to come in and do it, not just any Tom, Dick, or Harry can do it.
Okay.
Or Susan, or Barbara, or Sandy.
Anything else? Council? I have nothing else other than to once again thank our city employees for the job they do. Proud of them and appreciate the work that they do. All right, if just a reminder, there'll be no council meeting on February 14th. So enjoy that evening with whatever activities you have in mind. With that, we'll move into item number 10. This would be entertaining a discussion, enter into a closed meeting for reasons related to the Utah State Code Section 52-4-205. 1A regarding the character, professional competence, or physical and mental health of an individual. Council, I'd be looking for a motion to enter into a closed meeting. So moved by Council Member Swanson. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Council Member Exton. All in favor of entering into a closed meeting, please say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Yes. Motion passes unanimously. We would ask those the room to leave. We will be reconvening if you'd like to stick around.